The enduring paradox of Matthew Broderick's career is that the world keeps asking what happened to him, when the reality is that he simply kept happening, just on his own terms, and with a decisive shift in priorities. The question, what the hell happened to Matthew Broderick? Implies a professional failure, a tragic vanishing act, or a loss of relevance. Yet his biography reveals a deliberate, almost defiant choice to prioritize artistic substance and the stability of the New York stage over the volatile, all-consuming demands of Hollywood superstardom. He never aspired to be the action hero, the heartthrob, or the bankable box office titan. His genius lay in playing the quintessential outsider, the wry observer, the smart kid who was slightly too clever for the room, and when that mold threatened to define and suffocate him, he simply walked into a different, more familiar theatre. His life began, quite literally, in the shadow of the New York theatre scene. Born in Manhattan in 1962, the son of a well-respected actor, James Broderick, and a playwright, Patricia Broderick, the rhythms of performance were in his blood long before a camera found his face. Unlike the classic Hollywood narrative of a starlet discovered in a diner or plucked from obscurity, Broderick's initial path was that of the stage prodigy. A knee injury sidelined his athletic interests in high school, pushing him into drama classes, and this seemingly mundane turn of events led to his first major triumph. By the age of 21, he had already won a Tony Award for his portrayal of the neurotic. Wisecracking, Eugene Maurice Jerome in Neil Simon's Brighton Beach memoirs. This early success on Broadway, the toughest proving ground in the world, established a foundational skill, an integrity to his craft that Hollywood fame would attempt to distract him from but never fully erase. The transition to the screen, however, was explosive. In 1983, he made his debut in Max Dugan Returns. But it was his next project that truly ignited the fire, War Games. In this techno-thriller, Broderick portrayed David Lightman, a bored but brilliant high school student who accidentally hacks into a top-secret military supercomputer and nearly triggers World War III. This was the perfect distillation of his screen persona. He was not a cool, slick action star, but an approachable, slightly awkward intellect who stumbled into extraordinary circumstances. The film perfectly tapped into both the era's Cold War anxiety and the burgeoning fascination with home computers, making it an instant cultural touchstone. The line, "Shall we play a game?" became iconic, and Broderick suddenly became the face of a new kind of cerebral, relatable teen star, cementing a niche that was miles away from the muscular heroes of the decade. But even War Games was merely a warm-up for the role that would define him forever. Ferris Bueller. Released in 1986, John Hughes' Ferris Bueller's Day Off captured lightning in a bottle and bestowed upon Broderick a kind of pop cultural immortality that few actors ever achieve. Ferris was the ultimate wish fulfillment fantasy. A charming, untouchable god of adolescent rebellion who could skip school, borrow a Ferrari, crash a downtown parade, and still make it home before his parents noticed. Broderick was pitch perfect, mastering the art of breaking the fourth wall to bring the audience into his confidence, making them accomplices in his perfect, anarchic escape. The film was a colossal hit, transforming him into a household name practically overnight, but it also became a beautiful gilded cage. The character of Ferris was so specific, so magnetic, that for a long time, audiences struggled to see Broderick as anyone else. He wasn't simply an actor playing a role. He was the symbol of an era's carefree spirit, and that is an almost impossible burden to shake off. Following the Ferris phenomenon, Broderick began to make conscious, though sometimes confusing, choices to break the mold. He took a detour into medieval fantasy with Ladyhawke, and then into socially conscious sci-fi with Project X, where he played an Air Force trainee who champions the cause of chimpanzees used in radiation experiments. These were projects that nudged him into more serious territory, hinting at an actor who craved depth over simple popularity. However, it was during this period of transition, in August 1987, that his life took a profound, tragic, and non-cinematic turn. While vacationing in Northern Ireland with his then-girlfriend, Jennifer Grey, their rental car crossed the centre line and collided head-on with another vehicle, instantly killing a local mother and daughter. Broderick was hospitalised with a broken leg and a concussion. The emotional and personal toll of this accident was immense, an experience that added a deep, unsettling weight to his public life and career, an unspoken tragedy that quietly, but firmly, closed the door on the possibility of a purely light-hearted career defined by teenage antics. It's impossible to quantify the degree to which such a devastating event changes a person's outlook and subsequent career choices. But it certainly offers a powerful explanation for the pivot toward more solemn, reflective roles that followed. The first major artistic signal of this shift came in 1989 with Glory. Directed by Edward Zwick, the Civil War drama saw Broderick shed the smirking irreverence of Ferris to play Colonel Robert Goodshaw, a real-life Union officer who led the 54th Massachusetts Infantry Regiment, one of the first African-American units in the U.S. Army. The role demanded a quiet command, a profound sense of moral weight, and an understated resolve, qualities Broderick had not been previously asked to convey on screen. He was not the star in the traditional sense. He was the vessel through which the heroism of the regiment was witnessed, and he delivered one of the most powerful, restrained performances of his career. It was a clear statement. He was growing up on screen, testing his range, and proving himself as a capable dramatic actor beyond the realm of teen comedies. The 1990s continued this pattern of eclectic, often surprising, and low-key choices. For a generation of younger audiences, his defining role was one they never saw his face in. Adult Simba in Disney's 1994 animated classic, The Lion King. This role was a commercial triumph for the actor, giving him an iconic voice presence, but it simultaneously lowered his personal visibility as a live-action leading man. He returned to dark satire with the critically acclaimed 1990 film Election, where he delivered one of his most masterfully pathetic performances as Jim McAllister, a high school teacher whose life slowly and hilariously unravels under the pressure of Reese Witherspoon's terrifyingly ambitious student, Tracy Flick. This era showed him gravitating toward ensemble pieces and complex character work, the mark of an actor concerned with the quality of the script over the size of his name on the marquee. The nadir of his attempt at blockbuster status came in 1998 with Roland Emmerich's Godzilla. On paper, it was the definition of a career-elevating summer tentpole, but the film was critically panned, loud and bloated, and many critics questioned whether Broderick, the intelligent, self-effacing observer, truly fit the mold of a blockbuster action lead. The experience seemed to confirm what his career had been signaling all along. His home was not the high-pressure, CGI-laden world of tentpole cinema. This was the moment where many Hollywood analysts wondered if his time had truly passed, if he was destined to be a footnote defined only by his 80s peak. Yet, the answer to what happened to Broderick was already happening simultaneously, quietly, on the other side of the country. Broderick went home. He returned to the stage, the setting of his earliest triumphs. In the early 2000s, he became a Broadway fixture, most notably for his role as the anxiety-ridden accountant Leo Bloom in Mel Brooks's musical Juggernaut, The Producer's Masterna. His comedic chemistry with co-star Nathan Lane was electric, securing him another Tony nomination and proving that his true star power was on full display in the intimate, demanding environment of the theatre, not the vast, cold space of a summer movie screen. This was the intentional, decisive shift that answered the what happened question. Broderick chose a career of continuous, artistically challenging work over the brief, volatile fame of the A-list movie star. He settled into a comfortable rhythm of supporting roles in films like Tower Heist and Manchester by the Sea, where his quiet awkwardness could be used for poignant effects, and consistent, high-profile theatre productions opposite his wife, Sarah Jessica Parker, who he married in 1997. Private family life, far from the glare of constant paparazzi, reflects the professional choices he made, a preference for stability and privacy over the chaos of constant celebrity. Broderick never faded to black. He simply stepped out of the harsh, blinding spotlight and onto a stage where he was always meant to be. He remains the intelligent, slightly awkward outsider, still working, still relevant, forever immortalized by Ferris, but quietly defined by the complexity of the man who decided to stop playing the game and simply live a life well acted.